Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to Lux at Home. My name is Lindsay Day. I am a resident artist here at the Lux Center for the Arts, and today I'm going to teach you how to make paper beads. Alright, so the materials you'll need, pretty simple. You'll need paper, pencil and markers, scissors, craft glue, straw and a stick, ruler, paintbrush or a Q-tip, and some string. So to get started, you'll want to gather your paper that you'll use. The longer the paper, the better. It will make for a more sturdy, thicker bead. So these kind of beads are kind of what I mean by a standard bead. They're about 1 inch thick, and they're about 12 inches long, rolled up. So I'm gonna start with, let's do this white. The paper that you choose, it does matter. I've used newspaper, I've used magazine paper, but cardstock is a little too thick. So I've learned that construction paper works pretty well. And this is just 9 by 12 inch construction paper. All right, so to get started with your bead pattern, you're gonna wanna take your pencil and your ruler and trim off one of the edges. Trim off a triangle. You don't need that part. And this is because this corner is a right angle, and the triangles that we are wanting to use for our beads need to be acute angles. So we can get that now from here. So for efficiency, and especially if we're going to be doing a lot of beads, I would go ahead and from the side that you just cut off, I would measure on both sides about every 1 inch. Like I said, 1 inch is about a really standard bead size. So there's about 8 beads possible. And again, it has to be from measuring from the side that you cut. About every 1 inch. All right, nice. So from there you have a couple options. You can either use your pencil and complete your triangles like so. Just keep swiveling your ruler to the next tick mark and it'll make these perfect triangles. So I use a pencil if I'm not gonna want my lines to show up on my bead. If you do want your lines to show up, I would suggest using a color like a marker or a pen. This one's a gold marker I kind of like to use. So we can do a couple of those as well, just to see some diversity here. So the edge on this one, I'll want to keep because I like that gold. So we'll stop there. So these ones will be the front side, these ones will be the back side. So I'm going to decorate with an all over pattern because that's what I think is kind of easiest and it looks best. Depending on what you're using your beads for, your colors will matter. You know, if you're making jewelry, you want to be conscious of the color choices there. Or if it's for another project, you might have a color scheme that you need to follow. So that's for those there. So now I'm going to cut those out. And for the gold ones, I'm going to keep the gold line so that I can see it from my bead. And it's important when you're making your pattern to do, like I said, an all-over pattern of some sort, even if it's a little bit more structured than this. Like I said, this craft paper works really well too, stuff like that. But you don't really want to get caught up in drawing like one particular image on the inside. You won't be able to see it. Once our paper is rolled up, this won't look like a sun anymore. It'll just turn into color. So keep that in mind. Maintain that gold edge, like that. All right, so now we start wrapping. This is the fun part. So take your straw or just another stick of any sort. This is just a pencil, unsharpened pencil, but it needs to be cylindrical, perfectly cylindrical. So a pencil like this with the ridges won't work. It won't really slide off very well. It'll get caught on the edges. Something that is tapered, like this paintbrush, that won't work either. It needs to be perfectly cylindrical and symmetrical. So I like to use this size. The circumference of your stick will matter. It'll end up being the circumference of your bead, of course. So if you want really small beads, perhaps get a little stir straw or something. That would work nicely. Okay, so let's start wrapping. So flip the top side, the bead side that you like, flip that over and lay your stick on the end here of the widest part of that triangle. Take your thumbs and tuck it under itself and start rolling. Now while you're rolling, you want to maintain a center line throughout the whole triangle. You don't want it to be lopsided, so you might have to force the paper to do what you need it to do. Kind of scoot it over and keep rolling. So as you can see already, as I'm rolling this, the white is playing a minor part in the color design, but mostly it's that gold, which looks really nice. So then when you get to this point, you're going to take your glue. I like to use a paintbrush. You're going to put some glue on that tail, and then I like to put some glue where the tail is going to lay. Gluing both sides is always better. Nice. And then depending on your glue or your paper, you might need to hold it for a second. Let it sit. And then I put glue all the way around. I just wrap glue all the way around and twirl it. That way my bead stays nice and strong for a lot longer. A little bit more durable. Make sure to pay special attention to your edges. You want to get those so it doesn't unfurl. All right, that looks pretty good. I use my glue bowl as a little station to hold my brush and my stick while I prep more beads. Let's do one of these. So the design goes on the bottom. You curl the wide side up and under, and then just sort of start rolling. And it is okay if it kind of pops up out of your hands. It happens. Just got to redo it. Keep it nice and structured and straight the whole time. Throw some glue up under there. Once you get the hang of it, they go pretty fast, especially if you have all your beads cut out, ready to go. Put some glue around the outside. Those are pretty colors in there. All right, and let those dry. Usually once I get done putting beads all the way down my stick, these ones are ready to come off. And so once those ones are dry, they'll look, you know, something like this, and they'll have like a little tab. You can hear that. And I usually cut that off. I trim that so that my edges, my ends are nice and flat. There we go. And then for some extra durability, I throw some glue on the inside. I just twirl it right around on both sides. And that'll help it from coming undone as well. And so there's your bead. After that's done drying, of course, your next step will be to string. And that's pretty much it. So have fun with the color schemes and the thicknesses of your bead, of your paper, the lengths you can play around with. But these are very versatile, and they can be jewelry or sculptural, decorative, etc. So thank you for tuning in, and that's how you make a bead.